Welcome everybody to the Coffee and Crime podcast with Scott and Teresa. I'm Scott.
I'm Therese.
Yeah, if you didn't figure that out on your own, then get some glasses. But I apologize for the beginning. I'm podcasting from my cell phone, and the truth is these are not my glasses. I've been waiting. I broke my real glasses. Those ones. How long did I have those? Like 6 years, 5 years.
Kind of a long time, yeah.
Yeah, I broke them, and so I've been using like reading glasses to get by and do things. And it works most of the time, except for when I'm trying to do something on a cell phone. And unfortunately, I'm podcasting from the cell phone today. So if I hit wrong buttons or if I don't do something right, just get over it. Just get over it.
Get over it.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was very nice, thank you. How was yours?
It was good. It was good. First year, I didn't do a full turkey. I did a turkey breast. And, but then I went the next day and got some turkey and made turkey soup. So it was all the same thing anyway. It all ended up being the same. And I have been eating turkey almost every day in one form or another since Thanksgiving. And I have just a bit of soup left, and I almost want to eat it tonight so I can be done.
So you can be done with it.
Yeah. Did you get leftovers?
Some leftovers, yeah. We ate over Jessica's, so we left, a lot there. But we did come home with some leftovers.
Now, you usually make pies. You didn't make pies this time.
I did not. I made a gluten-free dessert for Tara. I made my mom's stuffing, and I made sweet potato casserole.
Oh, okay. So did you end up having pumpkin pie there, though?
Well, it's funny that you asked me that. It's so funny because I did not. There was not pumpkin pie there. So today I was like, somebody was in the office today, and they said they were in the hospital for Thanksgiving, and they didn't get any turkey, they didn't get any pumpkin pie, and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't get pumpkin pie. So I had to stop at the store and grab a quick something to eat for dinner tonight. But guess what I bought? A pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie.
Yeah, and Cool Whip.
Well, I got pumpkin latte creamer, so that's as close as I'm getting to pumpkin pie.
No,
I know.
Pie.
Well, what am I going to buy a whole pie, bring it home, and just for me? You got people coming by your house.
Well, not really.
Well, I mean, the kids come over, and you could save pumpkin pie for like 6 months out on the counter.
Well, I figure Tara can eat the guts out of it. She can eat the middle part.
Oh, okay. All right. Awesome. All right. Well, hey, by the way, just so you can see, we've got our Coffee and Crime gear. We got our shirts. And we're going to get some more. I'm going to make the logo a little bit smaller so it's not quite as, big, and it'll be a little higher up, and it's going to be good. But we're experimenting. And hey, one day maybe you'll want to get a Coffee and Crime t-shirt, and we can do that for you. We'll take care of you. You got to pay for it because,
You're not just going to give them out.
Yeah. The reason that Teresa and I do things like that is because we're broke and we can't go out and have real lives. So I hope everybody's got their coffee. I hope you're ready to talk about a little bit of crime. We've got a lot to cover today. So I think we probably should start with Lori Vallow real quick, because that's our number one case for the past 2 years, has been the Vallow-Daybell case. And yes, I called her Lori instead of
Tammy.
Oh, see, now I forgot Tammy's name. Now I said it. Now you said it. Now I'm going to say it.
Yeah, you're going to mess it up.
But Lori Vallow was in court today, as a matter of fact. And
today?
Yeah, it was today's the 5th, right?
Yes.
Yes, it was today. And basically, once again, quick recap. We're not going to do the whole story. Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, they conspired. They committed murder. They worked with her brother. They killed 2 children that were her children. One was adopted, but it was 2 children. They killed Chad's wife, Tammy. Lori herself, with her brother, set up her separated husband, estranged husband, and set up a self-defense plea. But what they did was they ambushed him and killed him. And she tried to kill a nephew as well, or a step nephew, or whatever you want to call it. But death and destruction all around these people. Death and destruction. They've all been convicted, as far as Lori and Chad have both been convicted of the murder of the 2 children and the murder of Tammy. Mm-hmm. They both are facing life in prison. Chad, however, he got the death penalty, right?
He did.
Yeah. But given the fact that Chad is, what is he, about 50?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. The chance of him being put to death, it's more likely he's going to die in prison because it takes forever to do the death penalty. Yeah. I mean, if you want to hand out death penalties, you got to give it to somebody who's 12 years old just to get a shot at maybe getting them in the chair.
You know what surprised me is I was I don't know, somehow I was listening to an old case or whatever, and it was a younger person that got sentenced to death, and within like 6 years he was put to death.
Hey, look at, I did it. We got a comment. Hi, kids.
Hi.
That is Sandy Mom, and
Hi,
she's out there for us. Yeah. I mean, but the Lori Vallow case now, she's been convicted, the kids and all that stuff, and that was in which state was it? Utah?
Oh, Idaho.
Idaho. Now
Mm-hmm.
she's in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And Chad's pretty much done. I don't know if they'll find more charges on him for anything else, but she still has the charges of murdering her husband. Probably more likely I don't know if they're charging her with murder or conspiracy.
I think conspiracy, correct.
But either way, they carry the same sentence. If you help somebody commit a murder, you're going to get charged. So she is now going to stand trial in Arizona. She got transferred there back in August or September.
Yeah, she's been there a while.
She's actually had a court date that she decided she's in jail. Handcuffs and bars and orange jumpsuits. And she said, I don't want to go to court today. And she didn't go.
Yeah.
And apparently all the people in the building, who, by the way, have guns, could not convince her to go. But now she did go to court today because they're doing another competency hearing. When I say another, it's because in her first trial about the kids and Tammy, she was deemed incompetent for several months, was treated, and then they said now she's competent. So now this person who's back and forth on the woohoo wheel there, she's crazy. She went through another competency hearing and was found competent so that they can start the case, which I believe is either January or February.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
February 24th is where they're now standing. February 24th. And this is the kicker of all kickers. She wants to represent herself. This is a woman who, after she was convicted and sentenced to life, death penalty was off the table. She was convicted to life in prison. And sometimes they make statements. And in these statements, what you really hope for is to see some remorse or some apology or whatever it might be, which we didn't get from Sarah Boone either. We'll talk about that one in a little bit.
Some accountability.
Accountability. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for, Therese. Accountability. And they generally don't see that. So this woman who, when she had their moment where she could be accountable, she sat there and said, the kids love me. They're in a safe place. They're with Jesus. And I did this and they're happy I did it. And she went on and on about how she saved the kids by killing the kids. And that they still talk to her and she talks to them.
Yeah.
This is the one they found competent now to stand trial.
Well, I mean, competent is only a few hits you got to make, right? You got to be able to understand what your charges are. You got to be able to help in your defense.
So you could still be crazy. You could be crazy and competent.
Well, yeah.
Well, obviously. So, well, I've always gotten a kick out of the people who say not guilty by reason of insanity. The act of killing another human being is, by society standards, an insane act. So I don't buy this whole insane thing. I just don't buy it.
I don't think that I haven't heard that used in a long time though.
I think it's harder and harder to get it through.
Yeah, I think so too. Because now that with this competency bar, right? If you're competent enough to understand what's going on, what you're being charged with, and how you can help, I think that even if you do have some kind of mental illness, still not considered insanity.
Right, right. So I think what they're saying, the insanity plea is when they don't know the difference between right and wrong and they cannot control themselves.
Yeah.
Um, but here's where it goes off the rail. Whenever people bring this up, now apparently the lawyers wanted to do this with Lori in the first case, and she said, "No, I'm not going to go with the insanity plea."
Yeah.
It's probably the only respectable thing she's ever done is by not doing that. But here's the thing: if somebody goes and kills somebody because they're insane, but then they spend the next year covering it up and lying about it,
Right.
doesn't that show that they know what they did was wrong?
I think so. I mean, I think so. Yes, for sure.
I mean, if you walk out of a house with a bloody samurai sword and covered in blood and guts, and you're saying, "I really want a Twinkie," okay, fine, I'll go with the insanity on that one. But when they try to cover it up, that's a sign that they know what they did was wrong. It's simple.
Yeah, you would think it was simple. Yeah.
So anyway, she has been deemed sane. So that's a Rule 11 hearing, is what they call it, and she's competent to stand trial. So she's accused of conspiring in the fatal shooting of her fourth husband. Okay, first of all, husband number 4.
Right.
Chad Daybell is now husband number 5. I mean, he should have known this was not a good idea.
Well,
she's accused of conspiring in the fatal shooting of her fourth husband and plotting the attempted murder of her niece's ex-husband. Okay. Was there ever any reason for why because they were somewhat separated from all this, weren't they?
who?
The niece and her husband. I think
No.
she was involved in the church, but he wasn't really a part of any of this, was he?
No, he was not, but he also was very wealthy. He owned like his own, I think, insurance kind of business, like her husband did, and he had a very large life insurance policy, like $1 million, and they were in the process of getting divorced, but this attempt came on his life before that was finalized. Because if it was finalized, she wouldn't have been Melanice wouldn't have been the beneficiary of the money.
So how are they not? How is she not involved then?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it seems like if you're going to kill the husband, all the money's going to the niece. You would think there would make an arrangement before you went and did the deed.
Well, I mean, there's even some speculation that she was there and helping with the getaway in the Jeep. But I guess they don't have enough. I guess they don't have enough solid evidence that she was involved.
Fair enough.
I personally think she was more involved with all of it than she claims, but somehow she's been getting away with everything.
You know what? That might be some. This is a kind of story. It's kind of like the Murdaugh trial. There's going to be repercussions and little ripples from this thing for a long time, because now Murdaugh killed his wife and his son. Then his other son is now being charged with other things, and then they're going back to another incident where he might get charged. Then the financial. I mean, but this is even worse with this family. This Daybell Vallow cult that was going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the fun part. Here's where we get fun.
What's the fun part?
She wants to represent herself.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if she watched too many Lifetime movies where somebody represented themselves and it went well, but in historically, this is a very bad idea.
Yeah. Very bad idea.
She's not a dumb person. I think that at this point, she just wants the platform to spew her nonsense. Would you agree with that?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's screwed. Even if they found her not guilty, she's still in the jail for the rest of her life, 3
Right.
lifetimes. If she
Right.
dies and comes back as a chair, that chair is going to be in the cafeteria in a prison somewhere. She cannot leave.
I mean, this is really just kind of more justice for Charles and Brandon than it is anything else. And yeah, I agree. If she is going to represent herself, she's going to make a spectacle of it, right? She's going to spew all of her religious why she did it, or how
I,
she didn't do it, or how her brother was all to blame. I don't know what she's going to spin.
I don't ask for much. I don't pray for much. I don't do any of that. But I pray that this ends up on Court TV because this is going to be good watching.
Well, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it's going to be live streamed.
Because every time the lawyers get up when we're watching, because we followed these other trials and we've watched some of them, and once the lawyers start speaking, you're just like, oh, just get to the point. You spend forever. Her will be hung on every word. It's going to be amazing. And I want a constant camera on the prosecution while she talks in court, just to see the laughter, just to see.
Well, they won't do that because they're going to have it on her.
Yeah, well, they need to split screen. Hello, it's new technology.
Right.
I want to see the people reacting, and this is just, it's crazy. So right now, we're not going to jump on this every time like we have been, because at this point, now we're just waiting for February 24th. But trust me, when that starts, and if she's representing herself, you may see a lot of pop-ups from Coffee and Crime podcast. We may have to do a couple of daily updates just to let people know what's going on, because this is nuts. Okay, so we got a comment that says, I think if you're sane enough to plan and plot a murder, you are sane enough to face the consequences. I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. Especially these ones that are set up, and then the huge cover-ups that happen. Right. Yeah. And this one with Chad and Lori, just the huge amount of cover-ups that went on. And the whole world knowing they hurt those kids. There's some, and nobody can do anything about it. They were able to fly off to Hawaii and have a beautiful wedding on the beach. I mean, it was lovely, I'm sure. I'm upset. I guess my invitation was lost in the mail, but
I guess it was.
I mean, we should have been in. You're the one who introduced me to that case, and you're the one who really got this all sparked off. And I'm like, every day I'm asking you, wait a minute. So you're saying she did this, and you tell me, and I walk away, and I'm like, my brain forgets it only because it's so unbelievably bad.
Yeah, it's crazy. It
really is. All right, so now let's move on. We have been talking about our suitcase murder woman, Sarah Boone. Now, I was at work the other day. I just come home from work, and I got a text from you. And it said, have you watched Sarah Boone? Now, Sarah Boone was sentenced to
life.
Yeah, but I think she had a possibility of parole. So it was like 30 to life or 40 to life or something like that. Well, it was life sentence with a possibility.
Well, before she was sentenced, it was yes, life with a possibility. So it was either, I forget how they say it, but anyway, the minimum would have been 22 and a half years. The maximum was life without parole.
All right.
So she could have been sentenced anywhere in there. And if it was other than life without parole, she would have eventually maybe been up for parole. But now she got life, and life is life in Florida, no parole.
Yes. So stop. All of you crazy people, stop coming to Florida. Central New York is a lovely place to kill people. Stop coming down here.
Listen, they're trying here too. Don't worry about it.
Well, not now. You're into the season where you can't go out with a knife because it gets so cold it'll stick to your hand and you can't hurt anybody.
Right.
I know. You got snow coming yet? You're supposed to get hit pretty good.
Yeah, I mean we got we got an inch right now. I mean it's nothing. Still kind of pretty, but
not an absolute nuisance yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so anyway, so she was convicted. She knew that she was going to get a life sentence of some kind, not knowing exactly what it was going to be, or but there was pretty the writing was on the wall about what was going to happen. However, they got to make impact statements, the family, and then she got to make her own statement. Once again, the ink isn't dry yet. They could still change the sentencing, or they can make this, they can decide whether it's going to be, you can have parole, or it's going to be a 50 years or 40 years or 22 and a half years, whatever.
Well,
She had an opportunity.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
When she was speaking.
Right.
Yeah.
And she sat down and read I believe it was 4 pages, a 4-page letter. Single spaced, people, single spaced, I'm sure.
And edited. Her lawyer edited it.
Yeah. Yeah. This
was longer.
For all of our Friends fans out there, this would have been like if Ross actually read Rachel's letter. Yeah. If you would understand. There was a whole Jeopardy category on Friends the other day. Just so you know. Yeah, I got everyone right.
Awesome.
Okay, so she read this letter. She starts out talking about Kintosu Koro.
Some artistic.
Yes, Kintosukura is what it is. I'm not getting the end quite right, but it's Kintosukura. I actually practiced it at work, but I lost it on the drive home. I hit a bump, came right out of my head. And she's talking about the Japanese ceramic style where they repair things with gold. And anybody who's an art person, or maybe somebody who's into antiques, that you may have a ancient Japanese vase and there was a crack, and what they do is they put gold in it to fill the crack. And so she goes into this long story about how she's cracked and she had to be repaired with gold, and how it made her a better, more valuable person. She went on paragraph after paragraph on this thing. And so I'm thinking, like, okay, so she's going kind of that spiritual kind of, I was broken and I did wrong, and now I see that, and this can make me a better person. I could be all of it. And I'm like, okay, it was strange, but I saw where she was going.
I thought I saw where she was going.
We thought so. Then she did this. She turned the page. And then she starts talking about George Torres. I don't know if he pronounces it Jorge, but I think she uses George when she talks about it.
She uses George, and he did too on some of the police cam. They asked him which he preferred, and he did.
Oh, okay. So right after she talks about this, finding forgiveness and healing and gold, and I'm this and I'm that, and really kind of like telling people that she found something. Mm-hmm. She goes right into my gold begins with George Torres. Every time he slapped me, kicked me, punched me, spit on me, raped me, stabbed me, choked me, laughed at me, pushed me, pulled me, dragged me, whipped me, tripped me. Is she Dr. Seuss, or is she like, what is going on here? Will you choke me on a train? Will you choke me on a plane? I mean, she's going crazy. Stole from, lied, terrorized, threatened, humiliated, forced, degraded, made me cry every time he tried to end me, defeat me, or destroy me. So now all of a sudden, she goes from I've been repaired to this is all his fault.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, not only just all his fault, she also brought in his family, the media, the justice system, the having to be pro se, which she didn't end up being pro se. So I don't know why she's so complaining about it.
Yeah.
Everything. YouTubers, everything.
Yeah, and this is the kind of thing when somebody starts going into this, like, okay, you caught me, I killed him, but it was his fault. But in the stuff she's saying, to my knowledge during the trial, there was very little evidence of abuse that was a one-way abuse that was going. They were both crazy and abusive to each other.
They were very toxic, yeah.
Yes, but there was, as far as I can, correct me if I'm wrong, Therese, because you watched a lot of the trial. You saw a lot of the things or read up on it, but there was no real evidence that she was like a battered woman with or a victim in this relationship, right?
I don't think so. And I usually do side with victims just because most of them are women and I'm a woman and of course I'm going to believe them. But from it was very toxic and they were very abusive to each other. But I do think that she was a little bit more of the abuser or the antagonizer
Yeah.
than because of the way she spoke to him. Now, if someone was hitting me on a regular basis, I don't think I would. Did you see the video where he was asleep in the hallway and she was like degrading him and
No.
saying all of this awful things to him? And I don't think I don't think well, not that abuse is normal, but I don't think a woman that's being abused on a regular basis would have the courage to speak to him the way that she spoke to him.
I agree. That's and again, we're never going to discount if somebody's being abused. We don't ever
Right.
want them to think we're going to discount that. But in this situation, all the things that we've seen, all the evidence and the videos and the conversations, and even police reports from other incidences,
Mm.
she was the aggressor in more cases than he was. And she also, I mean, quite honestly, the pictures I saw of the two of them, she looked like she could kick his ass. He was a slight man. He was not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was like skin and bone.
He
But she
he
also
fit in some Samsonite people. He was small.
she also had on, I guess in her possession she had the only phone that he had to use, although I guess it was found out that he did have a secret phone she didn't know about.
Ooh.
She had the only car. She had his passport somewhere because on one of the police cams she said that she had thrown it in the bushes or something. She had his ID. So he was like controlled. Like she had control over everything that he did. And just the way she explained the night of what happened, she was, entertaining him and it was her decision to go in because he needed a change. And I
Yeah.
don't know, it's just I don't think he had very much freedom.
So let me give you a little bit more of this nut job's statement. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say this. This nut job's letter. Um, so after she says, he all these things he did, then she says, I forgive George for beating me senseless, for trying to sleep when I had to go to work or to my son's field trip the next day, ruining my deceased family's heirlooms. I'm just going to hit some highlights. The list, I'm not lying if I wouldn't say it was 10 minutes straight of just listing shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wrecking our town home, breaking windows, punching holes in walls, breaking or removing the locks from the doors, and sometimes removing the knobs altogether, for terrorizing and threatening my blind and deaf dog. She had a blind and deaf dog?
She had one dog that was blind and one dog that's deaf.
Oh, dogs. I got the S there. Well, you know what? Do you know what you name a blind and deaf dog?
Oh my God, don't say it. Why?
Nothing, because no matter what you call them, they're not going to come to you anyway. All right. That's so wrong. I apologize. Kicking them off the bed, throwing them across the room. She's talking about the dogs. Threatening to make me unrecognizable to my son. Drunken rages, drowning me in liquor and wine. Now,
When she
it seems like that video, she was doing just fine on her own. There was nobody pushing her to drink that.
Yeah, no.
Making me experience what it is to be sodomized. I mean, we could go on. Threatening to kill my friends, threatening to burn down our townhome, holding me hostage on weekends. Which it's cool because he keeps a schedule. Monday through Friday, you're free, but Saturday, Sunday, you're a hostage. I mean, really? How does that work? Stabbing me in the leg, not letting me call 911, or seek help when I nearly bled to death. Again, there was no evidence of this, or no.
There was evidence of this stab wound.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll give you that one. Destroying my phone, experience, all of these things. For me being arrested and being in prison, I forgive George for that. So now she's gone from I've become a better person because of all this, and the list goes on. if you want to look it up, look up the transcript of Sarah Boone's statement, and it makes for just.
You're probably going to walk away feeling a little dumber than when you started the letter, but it'll give you an insight into what this woman's all about.
So I forgive George for lying and all these other things. Now, here's where it takes an awful turn. I also forgive the Torres family, his mother and father, and his 2 ex-wives and his daughters.
All for knowing what George was capable of.
And what he has done in the past. Really?
I know. And listen, the Torres family was there.
I know. They had to listen to this.
Well, they didn't have to. I guess some of the family did walk out when when she started listing all the things about George.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I guess they couldn't listen anymore and they did walk out. But they were back in for sentencing.
Right.
She went on to blame social media.
Oh, yeah.
For social media's greed and insensitivity, deception, obvious exploitation, and advantageous gain from my criminal case. Social media now. Facebook, what did you do to this poor woman?
I mean.
I guess we're partly to blame because we've been talking about it.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to have to. I got a pen. I'm going to write our names in there now.
Okay, write our names in there.
Just to make it part of the record. She went on media tycoons. She thinks like the owner of Fox and NBC and ABC and CBS all got together and says we need to like hurt this woman.
Court TV, yeah.
Court TV, yeah.
My favorite guy, Vinnie Politan. I'm sure he's like the devil to her.
I'm sure he is. He's the blue-eyed devil.
So this is my favorite. Even after all that's been said and done, theorized, hypothesized, scrutinized, and blasphemed,
in my case,
still no one knows me. Aw.
Poor baby.
I feel so bad.
It drives me insane, these people that do not take accountability for anything that they do. Like it's everybody's fault but her own, right? Everyone's fault.
That's where the whole center section of this went. And I could go on and on. Then she goes into, now we're getting towards the end. So first part, I was broken, I'm fixed, I now walk with, I'm sorry. She did bring the Jesus thing in. She brought the God thing in. She says, I'm closer to God now because of this, But that was her first part. Second part was all about everything everybody did to her. Then she decides to wrap it up in the third part where she says, please wholeheartedly know that, and always I would. She wants the Torres family to forgive her. She says, forgive me, Torres family. Forgive me, Judge Cranick. Which, why you ask? The only thing she needs to forgive the judge for is wasting time by saying, I need a professional hairdresser. And to the entire planet. She just decided to blanket statement, everybody please forgive me. I graciously and humbly ask for consideration for forgiveness to be extended instead of judgment. You're in court. It's supposed to be judgment.
Well, yeah, but if you have to say that you're humbly asking this, then you are not asking humbly.
I know.
I mean, hello.
I am the most humble person you're ever going to meet. I'm telling you right now. Nobody's more humble than me.
Oh, my God.
I'm sorry. Now we're talking about our soon-to-be president. No. All right. Let me see.
No politics.
No politics. We're not going to do politics.
No.
Whatever you believe in politics, it's all cool in the gang. I'm just going to remind everybody, it's over. The election happened. Stop insulting and punishing people. Let's all just get along and figure out what we can do. My apology is profuse and ceaseless. I know this was written by a lawyer because these words were not words that she was using.
They are, though. Have you listened to any of her other letters?
No.
She uses all these big words, but she overuses them.
Well, yeah, that's like trying to prove how intelligent she is, I
And
guess,
she
right?
uses them in the wrong context. But yeah, I mean, almost all of her letters. And her lawyer said that she wrote that on her own, and he didn't see it until that morning because of Thanksgiving and everything. He didn't get because he's not from Orlando. He's from like Tallahassee area.
Right, right.
So he had to get down there, and he did edit. So there was a lot more, but he said no, that is her statement. She wrote that. I'm sure he didn't want to take credit for that.
This is a great line. Allow me, please, to brush off the muck, wipe the blood off my face, and fix the cuts in my skin.
I know. It's so dramatic.
Here's a Band-Aid. Now go to jail for the rest of your life.
I mean, she would have been better off if she just got up there and said, even if she said, this was an accident and I'm so sorry it happened. Period. Please forgive me. End of story. That's all you had to say.
Well, I told you at the beginning, this was done. There had to be some malice there, obviously. There had to be some hard feelings or meanness going on, but there was also, this was alcohol driven as well. And were she to come out of there and say, like we discussed this on the last show, were she to walk out of there and say, listen, I don't remember half of what went on, but I know I was drunk and I didn't take it seriously. I wasn't thinking, I was being mean. And that's it. And it would have been a whole different story. And that's all you got to say. But to do all of this, and she's asking for an apology. And then she also says, I asked for understanding. We understand you killed somebody. Yeah. You're the one who doesn't understand.
Right.
Wow. So this is the end. In my soft-spoken conclusion.
Oh, yes, I love
What the hell is that? My soft-spoken confusion.
Like she has ever been soft-spoken.
I know. She's got loud Walmart lady written all over her. I'm just telling you right now.
For sure.
In my soft-spoken conclusion, I ask this. Would I be the darling mother celebrated woman of the year if it were I who died?
Well, I don't think so.
Well, what the hell's that supposed to mean?
It's supposed to mean if she was the one that had died because of abuse, right? Right. So
that's what she's trying to portray. Yeah.
And I can see where a relationship like that, yes, this is bound to happen if you don't get away from each other, right? Something bad is going to happen to one of you. So she's saying if it was her rather than him, would people be saying, how wonderful she was and how much she's going to be missed and blah, blah, blah. And what a great mother she was. And I don't think people would have been saying that because from what we've heard about her, she was not really a very nice person or a very well-liked person.
No, she made an additional statement at the end after she got done with the letter. She basically was taking offense that some people were being flippant or something about, this is just a moment kind of thing. I don't know what she was talking about.
I think it was one of the people that spoke.
And she said, the scars that I have on the inside, my outside scars have healed, except my stab wound. I mean, come on.
I know.
She's still trying to paint, even after she asked for forgiveness, she's painting him as he did this.
Yeah, well.
And then there's... I'm sorry?
She has to be the victim. She just has to be.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. If it doesn't shake, it ain't Jello, and she's not Jello at all. She went in. The lawyer asked her about did she get closer to God, and that's where she did that at the very end. She did that. I'm sorry, but that was her statement. Look at it, read it. At this point now, she's got life in prison. It's kind of a done deal. We probably won't have anything else to follow up on in this case. We can put it to bed. There's going to be the obvious appeals and probably have to go through another 9 lawyers to get the appeals done.
I don't think she's going to get granted an appeal. I don't think there's much to appeal.
Right. See, now a case like this, now this is Florida. You know what? I live in Florida, and I don't even know if we have the death penalty.
You do have the death penalty.
Okay, so someone gets killed, someone gets murdered by this whack job. Why is that not a discussion?
Because it was second, they were charging her with second degree, and I don't think second degree is punishable by the death penalty.
So they're basically saying this wasn't a pre-contemplated murder. This was like...
Yeah, and I don't think anyone ever thought that it was like planned out. I mean, how do you plan out getting your boyfriend to get into a suitcase and then leaving him there all night to suffocate? That I don't think it was planned. I do think the drinking obviously has something to do with it. I think that she was revengeful. She was pissed off about something, and she decided to make him suffer, right?
Yeah.
Maybe she didn't know he was going to die. Maybe she hoped he was going to die. I don't know, because I can't live inside of her brain. But her actions caused his death, and so that's what they were basically charging her with, right?
Gotcha. I don't understand how that ever happened. I don't think we'll ever know what happened that night and why he got in that suitcase. I don't, I just don't understand it. I mean, I couldn't get you to watch a Star Wars movie, let alone put you in a zipped suitcase. So I have no idea how that all happened. But yeah, so hopefully we're done with Sarah Boone and her craziness. The one thing I do want to get, and I'll have to get it and print it out, and I think I'm going to frame it, is the advertising she did for the lawyer. That was the most, it is just the funniest moment, to write a handwritten playbill. Would you like to do something that's amazing and change your life and all this? Be my lawyer. And she hung this up in a courthouse and got somebody to bite.
Yeah. Yeah, she found a lawyer, didn't she?
She even drew pictures on it, for crying out loud.
I know.
Oh, little hearts.
It was pretty inventive.
It was, listen, sometimes crazy is where you get the best ideas.
Hey, they do it with wanted posters, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So if you're watching a replay, because, this, sorry, Alexa was doing something there.
We didn't say Alexa.
Okay. I just
Lost you. There we go. And now you're back. Okay. Now I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried to stop an alert that came up on my phone and I disappeared. Couple more cases just to talk about. Let's start with this one. Was a big shocker. The CEO. It was the CEO, right? Yeah, Brian Thompson, 50 years old, was ambushed as he walked down the street in New York City, and was shot and killed. How many shots was he? It was several shots, I believe.
3, I believe.
Yes,
he
3.
Was hit with 3.
And it was just a guy, a hoodie, the basic. It was a hoodie, it was a backpack. It was, they've got some good shots of him from different cameras from where he was before this happened, because they got so many cameras now they can track people.
Especially in New York City.
New York City, everything's a camera in New York City.
Yeah.
But he shot him in the back, by the way. It wasn't like he didn't, to this point, we don't think he said anything to him.
No, they're trying to there were some witnesses, so they're trying to see if anybody heard anything.
But what they did, so he shot this guy. Now, it's obvious, and they've already made alluded to the fact that being the CEO of a healthcare company, especially one as big as United Health Group, United Healthcare, if you will, being the CEO of a company that big, people are always pissed at their insurance company. So there's plenty. It's not like they're spoiled for choice on suspects. It could be half the people who have United Healthcare are pissed about something. It's just part of what happened. But okay, we got a comment here. There we go. Sandy Mom says he denied the insurance claim for the wrong person. Yeah, it's possible. That's possible. They did find on the bullet casings, and this was interesting. I've never heard of this before. He actually engraved on the bullet casings, which not like a professional, but he wrote on them or something. With the words deny, defend, and depose.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem. I can see the deny. I can see the defend. The depose is an interesting word.
It is a book about how to, if you get denied from your insurance company, how to fight that, things that you can do. There are terms used with the insurance company.
Okay, all right. Obviously, I'm not aware of that. That's good that you know that. And this is not a killer who is seriously trying to. I mean, I know he probably doesn't want to be caught, but just because of the way he showed up a lot of places, it just seems like it's not going to be long before they're going to figure out who this person is. There's a reward of $10,000 for information.
Which is ridiculous. Okay,
Why?
It's United Healthcare. It is a $350 billion company, and they offer a $10,000 reward.
Yeah.
Offer 100,000, people will be lighting up those phones. They have pictures of him without the face covering on from the hostile. He was staying at a hostel.
Hostel.
Yeah, he was staying in one of those in New York, and they have pictures of him without his face mask or anything on. And then there's one at Starbucks where he is covered up until like here.
Yeah.
He took off on one of those e-bikes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of clues left behind here.
Yeah, there was a granola bar wrapper and a cell phone right there at the area.
Wow. Yeah, $10,000. That you're right. That is insulting for that. That company can offer $1 million, and it wouldn't hurt their. I mean, that's their lunch budget for a month. You know.
I mean, come on, $10,000. Step up a little.
But let's be honest. They're going to offer $1 million. Somebody's going to give information. They're going to show up to get it, and they'll be denied. So it's just, it's just how. And I'm not making fun of the murder, guys. I don't know this guy. I don't know, if this was something, if he was murdered simply because he was the head of a company that pissed somebody off, or if there's something personal involved there. We don't know that yet. We're not sure. But this was a shocker for people. When you get the head of a big company like that, that's some serious stuff there.
Yeah, that's a message, right? I'm leaning towards it has something to do with insurance. Either there's some life-threatening procedure, medication, something that someone he knows or loves needs and can't get that's where I'm leaning towards, unless there was something in the guy's personal life.
Right. Right. Know. I think you're right. I'm going to go with, at this point, my assumption is going to be, until they figure it out, that this person somehow, I would guess a family member either died or was seriously hurt because of the insurance company's denials or refusals. And because he also strikes me as a bit of a younger person.
Yeah,
he's not. Yeah. So he's in just the way he carries himself, the things he was doing, even being on an e-bike. You're looking at a young side of 20, like 22, 24.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
30, maybe up to 30.
Maybe up to 30. But of course, in New York City, grown people ride bikes all the time. So it's not like down here.
And leaning a little bit more towards ex-military person also.
One of the reasons they're thinking that as well is because it was clear in the video. There's a video of this attack. It's not like it's like one camera shot grainy. It was a pretty clear video that his gun jammed and he cleared it very quickly without panic. Now, somebody has to be very proficient with firearms to clear a jam that quickly and easily. Mm-hmm. So I agree. I think there might have been a military background. And my theory is going to be he lost his mother. That's what my theory is going to be. It's just a guess, people. I don't know, and I'm not making light, but I'm just saying that a young man, the loss of a mother is usually could be the biggest trigger. So,
Could be, yeah. Or the
yeah.
loss of a child that he thinks maybe they are at fault because
Ah,
of the child.
actually, you're right. That does trump the mom. You're right.
I mean,
You're right.
I'm just guessing.
Now, I haven't checked the news in the last 5 or 6 hours, so there could be something happening right now. This is not a case that's going to take a long time, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either.
I think, and I also believe there's a real good chance this person probably is not going to see a courtroom. I just, to be that brazen, that out in the open, I'm sure somewhere in his head there's an end game where suicide by cop or something like that. We could see something like that happen, or obviously self-inflicted suicide or something like that.
I agree, and I do wish that they would find him before that happens because, I mean, if it was to send a message, then the message should get out there because I can see how people can get extremely frustrated, extremely stressed, extremely, what do I want to say? Like at the end of the rope with insurance companies. I hear it every day.
Mm.
I have people that can't afford their medications. People are getting denied for MRIs.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sad. It can drive people.
Absolutely. Same example. Someone died because their coverage was denied, and that's a good bet. And you're right. You see that all the time. I also see the trouble because I am just getting I'm getting insurance coverage that I finally got a good plan that I can use that I need for me because I'm getting old. Shit's breaking. I got to take care of stuff, right? And the stuff that they say, we'll do this, we won't do that. We'll do this, we won't do that. You're gonna pay all this, and it's like, even the insurance company I went with, and I'm not going to mention who they are, but they were like, well, we want to estimate how often do you think you're going to use your insurance? How many times you're going to go to the doctor? And I'm like, well, geez, let me get my crystal ball and figure that shit out for you.
I know, it's crazy. And I'll say, just being in an office setting, United does not have the best reputation for covering a lot. They're one of the hardest. They're one of the hardest insurance companies to get things covered for. And a lot of Medicare patients choose that as their supplemental, and I really wish they wouldn't.
Well, if this is a message, and nobody, I'm mortified that somebody had to die. I mean, nobody needed to die. This guy did not need to die. And I don't want to tell you, Brian Thompson, 50 years old, had a family. He died in an ambush. That didn't need to happen, but it did. So let's look at why people are so upset, and let's really look at that. And like Therese, you said it right. I mean, I hope he's caught. And he could tell us what happened.
Mm.
I'm not saying there's forgiveness for killing somebody.
No.
But we as a country need to recognize why people are getting so upset. You see it every day. You're right. You see it. Mm-hmm. People come in and it's like, I want to do this. I want to do that. And they can't. They got to talk to somebody, sometimes even outsource somebody about what's going on with them physically. And they're not doctors who are talking to them. These are money people who are saying, well, we deny, then we approve. And that's the truth about what happens a lot, isn't it?
Yeah. Or else they just deny and never approve. I have people that go through Canada to get prescription medication because they can't afford it here. And then they run the risk of it getting confiscated in customs.
Unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. We only got a couple minutes left, Therese. This has gone by quick.
I know. Amazing, right?
I do want to mention, and we will follow up on this on our next show 2 weeks from now. It'll be the week before Christmas. I think we could squeeze a show in, right?
Goodness, yeah. Probably.
Yeah, so we're going to have to dress up in our Christmas outfits.
What date? What date will that be?
That would be the 19th.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll make sure it works. If we can't do it on the 19th, we'll do it on the 18th, or we'll do it one of those days. We'll let you know ahead of time. Let's see, one last comment here. Healthcare is not the priority. Profits are. Well, yeah. And I understand every business needs to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Teresa, you work for a doctor. He needs to make money. His
Oh, yeah.
office needs to make money.
Yeah.
But if the patient care is not any kind of priority, that's where we have a problem. It's got to be at least an equal priority. It's got to be at least equal to the money making. If the money making is above it,
60-40, right? I mean, at least 60 money side, 40 patients. I mean, it's because it's not there.
It's not it's like 80-20 maybe.
And it's sad.
Not all doctors, not all health insurance companies, but it's something we've accepted and allowed to happen.
Yeah. I mean, it is the majority. Let's face it, it is the majority. Now, I mean, like our office is under a big umbrella, right?
Yeah.
Of a bigger company. So it's always coming up from the administrators, you have to see this many patients per day, this, da, 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 da. Your schedule has to look like this. And now the doctors can play around with their own thing. And they do. But it's always coming from way up here, which nobody is ever in the office that's making these rules, right?
Right.
This guy probably didn't even know. This CEO never probably even heard that there was a problem with this claim or whatever. Because he's in an office. He doesn't know the day-to-day. He doesn't know the struggle.
Right.
No, that's not his job. His job is to keep the company running.
Yeah. Exactly. So, working in drug and alcohol treatment for so long, I understand that down the hall we've got our CFOs and we've got our billing companies, we got all that stuff, but but that's not at the end of the hall. They got to keep the lights on. They got to do their job. But at the other end, if we're not taking care of clients, all the money in the world's not going to help us. Right. Because we need to help people. But one last thing before we go.
Okay.
And we will talk about this on the next show because this is going to happen. JonBenet Ramsey, who was killed December 26th, the day after Christmas. I forgot it was the day after Christmas, Therese. 1996. 1996. Found a ransom note. Well, first she was missing. Kidnapped. Everybody, the whole family. They're kidnapped and called the police. There was a ransom note left behind. It was a very suspicious ransom note. And then hours later, the father found the little girl's body in their basement.
In some secret room of the basement, like some separate room of the basement.
Yes. And this is they had a garrote around the neck. If you don't know what a garrote is, it's a way you strangle somebody. Fractured skull and signs of sexual assault. This girl was 10 years,
6.
She was, it doesn't say the age here.
She was only around 6 or 7 years old.
6 or 7 years old. I agree with that. Yeah. She was a little beauty queen. But I know we're at the end of the show. We will visit this because now they're saying with the new DNA testing they do, which is 1996 might not seem that long ago. Well, to you young people out there, you think that's ancient times, which I hate you for that. But it doesn't seem that long ago, but there's been so many advances in DNA testing and also DNA databases where we can connect people. So they're saying they do believe there's going to be a break in this case now, finally, after all these years. But we will outline the case because I've got some suspicions. Teresa has some ideas. We would love to share them with you. And if you're interested in one of these classic cases, that JonBenet Ramsey was about as big as it gets. So we will definitely bring that to you. Yeah. Therese, we're at the end. That's it. That went by so fast.
Oh, that was a fast hour.
It was fast. I'm glad you guys joined us. And like I said, if you're watching this on the rerun, please leave your comments. Let us know what you think. Like us, subscribe to the channel, and do all that. But share your comments with us. Let us know what you think. Final message, Therese?
Stay safe, everybody. I'm coming from a winter state, so everybody stay safe out there.
Yes, and down in Florida, be careful because it has dipped down into the 50s recently. So
no.
I know, how terrible. But all your friends get to wear their Uggs down here.
There you go.
All right. For Therese and Scott, this is Coffee and Crime Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Like us, share it. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye now.